Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your end of September 2020 General Tarot Update. It's Reunited here. I was kind of trying to remember what month it was because September has gone by so very quickly that I didn't even know what month it was. And for a second there, oops, why do I? through my I'm using my phone now, so it's a little bit different than when I was doing with my other camera. So I hope this will be more visible to you. Still. Wow. Okay, just putting these cards on the side. In this particular reading, I usually like to keep it open in terms of the themes. This one really does seem to have a personal touch to it. So hopefully you can resonate with it. I try to come up with more than one scenario. But the heart of the matter is the Six of Cups. This is a card that I associate with Cancer, the card of nostalgia, which is very Cancerian, the past. I'm surprised I don't have any planets in Cancer because I love the past. And I don't have any planets in the fourth house. And I'm always fascinated when I'm on YouTube. I've been doing that lately and just like, even, stuff before I was born, and you're probably like that too, but this particularly is about childhood. And if you had a childhood that was less than stellar, you still may have one thing that you really have fond memories of. And so whether this is going back to your roots in some way, going back to your hometown to visit your relatives, your family, the Six of Cups can be children, your children, or perhaps thinking, do I want to have children? And, it's funny. I was just reading about Linda Ronstadt, who is a Cancer. And those, there are two Cancerian famous singers in the rock and pop industry. Linda Ronstadt from the 70s and early 80s. Deborah Harry from Blondie and Linda Ronstadt. And I know that Deborah Harry never had any children, which is, you think of Cancer, you think of in a woman, you think of having children. Now, I just read that Linda Ronstadt, they said in an article that she had a couple of kids. Well, but they said she never got married. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. If she adopted kids on, by herself or what. But anyway, I know that has nothing to do with this reading, and I'm totally just going off on a tangent. It just occurred to me. Okay. In the past position, we have the Ace of Swords. So what this suggests to me is that you have gotten honest with yourself about somebody that perhaps was, very big in your past and that you've never really gotten over. So I did a reading for Libra before yours the other day, and I got the Six of Cups as well. I don't remember what position it was in, but it was in the reading. And so, I'm wondering, is it between Cancer and Libra? Is that even possible? But I titled that one, The One That Got Away. So I'm not going to, repeat myself and do it again, but I'm tempted to because it really could be that thing. Now, the Six of Cups could be the soulmate. And so what that could mean is that somehow you got separated from the person that you have always loved, whether it was parents doing it, whether it was you went to different colleges, you were high school sweethearts and you went to different colleges, whether you know, are college sweethearts and you just somehow, I don't know, lost connection after college. Who knows? I tend to think it's earlier on than meeting in college. I tend to think it's going to be in childhood, and childhood to me can go up to the end of high school. And so reconnecting with somebody that you knew long ago, or just thinking about them and with the Ace of Swords saying, you know, this is really the person I should have been with. Now, at a higher level, we're going to, you know, this is the higher level, but I'll just say, without even talking about this card, is that I personally think that it's much better to view it as everything happened as it should have. Even if it felt like you were in the driver's seat and you were the one that rejected this person and you decided that you didn't want to be in a relationship with this person. And sometimes that does happen. Sometimes people, you know, they're not developed enough to really value certain characteristics, and they sometimes take people for granted. So, I mean, it could be something like that. And it's now, you know, with the Ace of Swords, it's dawning on you. The higher message card is the Seven of Cups. So if you're thinking about reaching out to somebody, or you already have, and you're kind of in that in-between process and you're not sure, the Seven of Cups is about wishful thinking, maybe muddled thinking. Sometimes it can be about addiction that is clouding the thinking, meaning that, you know, if you have had some kind of difficulty in your life, maybe your marriage is falling apart. To tie it into something other than a personal relationship, I would say that, let's say you went into a certain line of work and maybe even got like a college degree, majored in something, but you're not feeling it anymore. And the Ace of Swords is you kind of connecting the dots and saying, wow, I never really wanted this. I did it to make my parents happy. I did it because I thought that material security was the end-all be-all. And, you know, now I realize, because I've been laid off with this type of work, or because I, you know, am off because I have an inability to go into work, I'm so burnt out because I don't like what I'm doing, I'm resisting it, that it's not the end all be all. And I should have been doing something else, and, you know, tracing it back to childhood, something that you're very passionate about. I tend to think of creative professions, or perhaps even some people, I'm sure that this is a possibility with some people, that they were interested in religion from a young age. And, you know, people don't usually think, hey, I'm going to become something religious. I mean, that's what I'm going to do for a career. You know, that's not the thing that people tend to focus on. So all of these things may be coming up for you at certain times of our life. You know, they call it the midlife crisis sometimes, where a person is starting to evaluate the choices they've made, and maybe a Saturn return, the first one, you know, in your late 20s, the second in your late 50s, where you are, you know, evaluating what you've done, and, you know, do you feel that sense of fulfillment? Do you feel like you are doing something that is the right thing? And when you don't feel that way, are you willing to go after your dream? Or you know, especially as you get older, do you say, oh, you know, it's too late for me? So what crosses you is the Ace of Pentacles. Now, this is in the challenge position. You see the doorway. Aces represent this kind of initiation. So, you know, that is kind of what the doorway represents. It's the portal, which is that, you know, the space between the past and the future, and you're walking through this doorway. So, in order to activate that portal, that new beginning, maybe that new job and things like that, you have to really be on board for that. Meaning that you can't be the kind of person who is afraid of, the unknown, is afraid of, it needs everything to be, guaranteed. That there are no guarantees. Even with people that are astrologers or psychics, how many people said we were going to have COVID, or we were going to have a shutdown at least? How many people said that? Let's face it. People did not predict. Now I'm hearing people saying, oh yeah, I said this, I said that. Well, whatever. I mean, we weren't like waiting until mid-March for something to happen. It just happened, and it seemed like it happened very quickly. And so the point being that there's no way to guarantee any outcome in life. And what I think too about childhood, as we get older, childhood becomes more and more mythical, doesn't it? I mean, I'm thinking from the vantage point, and I've always lived in the same basic area. And so I'm capable of going in my old hood, in my old, area where I grew up. I could do that. I could go there tonight if I wanted, because it's close enough. But the point is that when I do that, I love that feeling of the past. But I know that I can't ever relive the past. And the older I get, the more it seems unreal. It seems like somebody else lived that life. And I kind of like that feeling, because I think that this is how we all feel about our past lives, is that we can't believe it. We don't even know it. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of sublimated knowledge or memories. So the point is that all of these things, that's why I'm saying with the Seven of Cups, is that we have to look at people, places, and things that were in the past with the lens of today. If you have somebody that you always have pined away for, or that you just felt like there was some connection there, and maybe both of you got married and you just went your separate ways, but now the universe is conspiring to bring you together, that's awesome. I'm not saying you should say, oh no, that's bad, I'm not going to do it. But not to, like the Seven of Cups, be wanting a certain outcome and not being able to see things as they really are. The Ace of Swords is about being able to see what is happening, in seeing the reality of it. Now, reality is with air quotes, because I think reality is relative, but we know what that means. We know that it means not just what we want something to be, but what it is in this moment. People change. Even if you have this very solid memory of somebody from 20 years ago, it doesn't mean that they are that same person. But at the core, they are. I do believe that. But even like other things that you're tempted to be overly nostalgic about, or you're a little bit too idealistic about, given the circumstances, reining that in and, hoping for the best, but not getting carried away. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and I said, what is coming in, or the advice? This is more of the advice. The Nine of Wands. This is the card of the sentry at the gate. Being very vigilant, being prepared. This can mean boundaries. And in a more general sense, that means that, let's say that there is somebody from the past, and there's this potential for reuniting with them, one of the boundaries, if you broke up with this person, let's say it was like, 20 years ago, it doesn't have to be childhood or something, but it is the past. Okay. You broke up for a reason. Have those reasons changed? If the other person was an alcoholic, have they gotten sober? If the other person cheated, do they see the value in fidelity? If you were the one who broke up with them because you didn't take them seriously or something like that, have you changed? Have you seen the light? And if there was some like serious problem and the other person says, yes, I have quit drinking, are you willing to have a game plan? If they haven't quit drinking, if they quit, if they keep going back and forth, some people have problems staying sober. They can do it and they can get their life together and then they go back. So, do you have a game plan of how you would handle that? Because once you give your heart to somebody and you're, as a Cancer, it's hard to rein it back in. So you have to have a game plan of how you're going to handle that, even if you're just head over heels. And the outcome card is a card that is associated with reunion. I guess I might recycle Reunited and it feels so good. Can you tell which era I grew up in with all these references? As long as you don't call me a boomer, I'm good. I'm the first year of Generation X. So this is a card of forgiveness, a card of reuniting with somebody, and a card of commitment. So even like a situation that has more of a work angle, you have to be committed to your dream. If you're wavering, if you are afraid, I feel like you're telling the universe that you don't really believe in yourself. And maybe you don't. And maybe it's okay to admit that. Maybe it's not a good idea to have like this false bravado. But what I'm saying is that either way, I feel this sense of some Cancers. Now, I'm not saying this is happening in the next 2 weeks, but some Cancers really feeling that there's no other choice but to go for this. And this may just mean starting to date somebody again after a long period of time. It doesn't mean, I'm not talking about running off with them to Vegas or anything like that, getting married. I'm talking about just, risking your heart getting trampled on or whatever. And you notice, or maybe you didn't notice, but we have 3 out of the 6 cards, 3 of them are cups, and you're cups. So your emotions are engaged. The big trick with those top 2 cups cards is if there's some kind of reunion that's possible, that you're not blinded by over sentimentality and wanting things to be a certain way, that you're willing to, overlook some very important points about what happened, why you broke up, and things like that. So anyway, that is what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.